All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jillian Graber, Executive Director of Protect PT, and we have some wonderful board members with us today. We have Lois Drumheller. She is our board chair. Say hi, Lois.
You.
And we also have David Mintz. He's one of our newest board members. Say hi, Dave.
Hello.
We wanted to take some time today to introduce some of our board members and also talk about Day of Giving, because this is the Giving Tuesday, which is the big day of giving throughout the year. And so we wanted to just go over some of the things that we've done this year with you all so you can get familiar with our organization and hopefully donate to our organization today. And also, what we're going to be doing next year and why Protect PT is an organization that really is dedicated to protecting the economic and legal rights and environmental rights of people in Pennsylvania. So, and then also from a board perspective, how volunteering and being on our board is really just a huge benefit to our organization and what that means to us. So we have Patrick on our screen in the background. So if you could go ahead to the next screen, Patrick. So this is actually an action that we had a hard time finding pictures of Dave, but this is an action that Dave was at with us. And I'll just kind of give some background to this particular picture. So there was a meeting that one of the local operators tried to have with a lot of our local government leaders, and we thought, we should have been invited to that meeting, and actually anybody in the public should have been invited if our local officials were being really campaigned to by these operators. In this case, it was Huntley and Huntley. So we showed up, and and DEP was there as well. So they invited DEP, and they came. And so we wanted a chance to have people to be able to ask questions and interact with the operator and with DEP and really have a seat at the table. So Dave, can I ask you, what really compelled you to show up to this particular event?
Well, I think as a person who's obviously been interested in conservation my whole life, this event was really an opportunity to join with Protect PT as a really important group that helped the public get access to a meeting that otherwise would have been private and not accessible to the public. And as we were allowed in because of our efforts, we got to see kind of what would have been a behind the scenes interaction between the law representatives of the drilling company and various local representatives from local governments, and how that interaction would have gone and that we would have never known about, or none of the public would have known about. And I think Protect PT is a group that is so important that we were instrumental in getting access for the public, and then the media showed up because of that, and which means that everybody had a chance to find out how they speak to each other and what the influencers are doing amongst themselves. And certainly that meeting showed us that there was, I think, in anybody's objective opinion, undue influence from the drilling companies on the local officials from various communities, trying to basically get into their head about how they should not maybe try to do anything about the activities of those companies because it wouldn't be worth their while or would actually be detrimental in some way. But just to kind of put a seed in their head, and we wouldn't have known that if we hadn't been there. So I think that's one of the reasons Protect PT is so important.
Yeah, and I remember, some of the comments from there was one solicitor that showed up and had fought a case, trying to do something with a local ordinance, and it was really, he. I can remember him saying, well, just don't fight it. Just don't
Right.
put anything in your ordinance that will fight it. And I thought, wow, that's pretty terrible advice for a local government that really their job is to protect the people. um,
Exactly.
and
Oh
so
boy.
that was really stunning. And actually, Lois, I met you several years back. Actually, you attended an event at the library, and
Yeah.
I remember how attentive you were at that event. We were talking about how to navigate the online system of trying to get permit information off the DEP's eFax and eNotice systems, and all the oil and gas mapping website. And so, what was your first impression of Protect PT in that meeting, if you can recall? It was a couple years back.
Oh, it was maybe more than a couple years. But that was in Penn Township, wasn't it? At
Mhm.
the library slash municipal building, right?
Yeah.
Which is about a good 20 minutes from Monroeville. But that goes to show I had, I think, just either been a council elect woman, or maybe I was on council already, but there were few resources, in particular people who were in the know about what kind of activities from the oil and gas industry might be going on. And I somehow found out about this meeting and said, gee, here's a very active young woman. What is she starting here? I mean, this was at the very start of Protect PT's activities as an advocate for a public voice and trying to get rightful information about what kind of industrial activities do you have here. And of course, the internet was the only way to do it. And not that it would have been easy without that type of guidance. So I was quite impressed with what you had to say and how enthusiastic you were. And I was just in information gathering mode.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was quite informative.
And then I remember even after that, you had you showed up for one of our meetings at, I think it was UPMC East when that first opened up. We had a meeting on ordinances, and you were looking to try to make some changes and updates to your local ordinance. And we had a panel of attorneys, and we talked about different ways to go about doing that. And one of our attorneys, Ryan Hamilton from Fair Shake Environmental Legal Services, was there, and we were talking about that system. And so, just kind of thinking back, what really made you want to join Protect PT and become a board member?
I needed a tribe. And what I mean by that is a cluster of people who had thirst for finding out what was going on in their town. I had already been interested in trying to be a member of municipal council. That's a separate story unto itself. That lasted 5 years. And in the process of doing that, I actually learned quite a bit from the number of people who actually work for the municipality, who were the civil engineers and the zoning officers and code enforcement officers. But when it came to understanding zoning maps and what was going on and why do you have zoning in particular to, and also the fact that I knew, I'm not sure if that was in 2012 yet, or that was right about the time that HR 1950 was being introduced, which became Act 13. And I tried to gather information and try to find as much as I could in my role of councilwoman as to let the public know what were you able to get away with before, what was required. And now with this industry coming in, what are they able to do to these areas that they wish to have activity for oil and gas?
Mm-hmm.
And that I recognize that picture. Well, anyway, there are an awful lot of people there, people who are still active in the online community. Ron Slade was there, Ryan Hamilton, who I still have the pen from his Hamilton law firm. And the booklet, I still have that booklet there. It was information and just trying to absorb as much knowledge as I could. And that's what piqued my interest, you know. We had a lot of information that we needed to catch up, and we needed to catch the public up on, and we still do.
Yeah. So it sounds like information sharing and education is what really brought you to the table. You can see here in this picture, this we actually did not too long ago at the Penn Township Park. We have our T-shirts, which Dave and I have ours on. I've got my Clean Air on. Dave, you have your water shirt on. And so, we took these pictures to really to talk to show our T-shirts that we got for the board, and we for staff and for others to buy and to be able to enjoy artwork that we had done on the different projects that we were working on. And you can actually see last week we had Meg and Bree, the artists that made these beautiful designs. We had them on our virtual lunch hour last week.
That was a great lunch hour.
Yeah. And Lois, you're always on the lunch hours, which is great. But but what made you want to become a board member? Like, what was the defining moment? Maybe we'll go to Dave and then we'll go to Lois.
Well, and that includes Dave too, because
yeah.
not only was I on council, but I was trying to be active in the group that started right around the same time that I got on council, which was Sustainable Monroeville. And Sustainable Monroeville was the product, the brainchild of one of the people who would often attend municipal council meetings on behalf of issues that had to do with the environment. And I'm talking about Dr. Elizabeth Beck and Alyssa Beck, I'm sorry. Alyssa was meeting every Monday, first Monday at the Monroeville Public Library. We worked on an ordinance that we thought was beneficial to the municipality of Monroeville, who actively fought against looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, their solicitor, I'm going to say it, was actually previously his occupation was to lawyer for Huntley. Actually, he was with Apex.
Mm-hmm.
So he was already in that line of business, understood that. And they had brought up an ordinance, and we were actually dissecting it and looking at it. And Dave, you were involved with that. And we eventually came up with an ordinance of our own, which failed to gain any further interest of the municipality of Monroeville. We even prepared a document, which Dave, I know you're going to remember that. This was like a 10-page document that was put together with assistance from Food and Water Watch and Doug Shields, who's very active to this day with that organization. And we actually took a product that was a cut and paste version of a very poorly worded ordinance. And we presented something that I thought was a very good ordinance for protecting the public and regulating any operations in oil and gas, having designated it to heavy industrial use in the zoning district. So that's how we were able to do that. We were able to at least get on record as offering our help. And Sustainable Monroeville is active mostly online these days, but I began wondering about your meetings. And I thought, well, they're in Harrison City. I'm in Monroeville. We know the back way to get there. Hey, Dave, would you like to drive me to a meeting? Because it's not going to be daylight savings time any longer. And, I'm not really good at night driving. So anyway, I attended meetings. I talked with you. You had come to Sustainable Monroeville meetings. So our two groups got together. And I became more interested in the organization that had an active number of people behind it, and that in 5 years took it from your living room to something that qualified for a 501c3 and began a budget and began strategic planning and offered me more knowledge, the kind of stuff that I continue doing in my retirement, because I've been retired for a year.
Yeah. And I remember we were waiting to the day that you retired, because it was something that we had been talking about. We were actively recruiting board members, and we still are. So if you're interested in the types of things that Dave and Lois are talking about, please, let us know, because we are always looking for new board members, people that have an interest in learning, an interest in you know in public information and how to get it, and in really serving the public, to protect people in all communities around Pennsylvania. Now we're working with companies across Pennsylvania. But, I remember, Dave, I think you weren't sure if you wanted to join the board or not, and what that meant for you. So tell me a little bit about kind of what made you interested in taking that step, and reflecting back on that like a year later. How have things changed for you, and how do you feel about it now?
Well, a lot of my story does mesh with Lois, as we have known each other for a long time as members of Sustainable Monroeville, and like she was saying, active in various ways in our own community, addressing council. We were both well known for various reasons. Lois used to be on council, but and the practical results that we were trying to get, including and ultimately what we were able to achieve by having any future potential fracking activity relegated to the industrial zone of Monroeville, but also the ordinance that we did submit that is still not being even reviewed for various reasons that I could talk about. But wanting to get those practical results, and knowing and starting to know you and your group, and seeing the things that you were dedicated to and that you were able to achieve, including education of the community, as well as actions because of the budget you had, because of the grants that you got, because of the dedication that the group obviously had, that you, Jillian, spearheaded, and doing things like meeting with Attorney General Shapiro, and actively not only attending various council meetings and the planning boards and things like that, but also helping in court cases with not only the Penn Trafford School District area, which includes a lot of different communities, but also surrounding communities around that, including Plum and Murraysville and potentially Monroeville. It just was an organization that I wanted to be part of. I wanted to really feel like we could do things and be successful, and this organization shows itself to be that. And so I really wanted to be part of that, and by being on the board as a volunteer, I thought I could be more of an integral part of that and help out. It's what I want to do. I want to help out and offer anything that I can offer, by whether it be education, which is my background, conservation education, including things that we should say that Protect PT isn't just known as Protect PT, but also Promote PT, right?
That's
so
right.
The subtle differences, or maybe not so subtle, which include promoting conservation education, and as well as taking the practical steps that result from people understanding what's going on. So the education hopefully can lead to practical achievements. But education is always important. As I always taught my students, the most important thing you can do is learn to help with different, anything in the world that you're trying to do that's good. Is the most important thing they can do first is to learn about them. And so Promote/Protect PT certainly helps people to learn, whether it's with, you may be speaking today about your home resource guide, to other activities in the community that we've done, like tabling at park events, at like community events, things like that help promote and educate. But as being on the board, I can offer some volunteer time to help out, whether it's with suggestions or just helping out with any activities like within the organization, helping the organization to grow and be an effective organization, to helping with the public activities, to anything like that. And so being on the board obviously offers that opportunity for anybody who's out there interested, that is serious and understands and wants to learn more. You don't have to be an expert in any one subject area, but if you're willing to learn, as any teacher would tell you, that's important. So the most important thing. So over the last year, I've gotten to understand the organization even further, and hopefully offer some benefit to the organization. Obviously, COVID has made it a different experience than it would have been.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that in all aspects of your lives, in your work, your home life. We all know that. I have a child that's doing school from home, and so everything. I'm home with him, and it changes everything. So our meetings are virtual, which means a lot of learning about how that works. As well as doing things with my son in school. You can see the event that just showed up on the screen there is when you were taking pictures of the shirts that we're all wearing today. Hopefully that the community can, even if you have a chance, I don't know, Jillian, if you're going to be talking about what they can, your catalog to buy some products that will help support Protect PT, including these shirts themselves. But it's been a privilege for me to be part of an organization. Hopefully I can continue to be and keep adding whatever I can add and help. And that's what people in the community, if you become a volunteer, whether it's on the board or in other aspects, and surely I know that there's just from talking to other employees, Mary, of the organization, we know that there's a volunteer that helps us with data entry, data collected in error monitoring that needs to be added into the online system. So just even something you can do at home, like data entry, can help out the organization. So there's all types of ways to volunteer, I'm sure, that you might want to speak more about. But certainly I'd say it's a great organization with great people who are dedicated and friendly. It's a good working atmosphere, which is from all of our lives experience, we probably know the difference between work atmospheres that are not good and work atmospheres that are good. And this is, so far for me, been a great atmosphere. So I recommend it.
So I think that you bring up a good point, Dave, that, no matter what your skill level, if you're willing to learn, then you definitely have a place that we could, we can use that enthusiasm and that that need to learn more. And I don't think it's not a huge time commitment. We have reduced actually our board meetings this year. We do every other month. So every other month we meet for a couple hours. And that's important because we talk about, really what our goals are, and what how we're going to achieve those goals, what events or, what things we're doing to achieve those goals. And, Lois, you became board chair this year, and I was really honored that you did that, because I think that with your background with municipal service and with just just the conversations that we had, I thought that you would be a wonderful addition. I think that you have been. I really feel like the board this year, we have some board members that have been with us for a long time, and I'm so thankful that they stay on with us.
In the picture right there is Darlene.
Darlene, yep, and Pat. They've been with us for a while, and just the knowledge that they bring of the community and of the history, is important. And then you guys, have a different, something different that you bring to the table. And I think that diversity of experiences is important when governing an organization. And we're a small organization, we're not huge, but we do a ton of work. And Lois, you sit in on our meetings, our check-in meetings every Wednesday if you can. And, so tell us a little bit about that.
On Wednesday.
Yes, Wednesday. So, so do you guys have, if you'll go to the next screen, Patrick, so usually before COVID, COVID's changed things, obviously. Normally we'd have a wonderful breakfast every January. We had a member breakfast, and this was a great time for us to be able to tell all of our members, what we achieved this, the last year, and then what our goals are for the new year. And we also elect our new board members, and bring in new board members and elect our chair, our vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. So that's an opportunity for us to elect those folks into those positions that are going to really be the backbone of the governance of our organization. And so if you go to the next screen, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to do this year in person, but we are going to do it on, virtually. And actually I'm really excited because we did, get a grant this year, and so it's going to be for this year, and it's really going to be used mostly next year. We're going to do some board evaluation. We're going to look at, who we have on our board, what kind of specialties or what kind of, education or people do we want to attract to our board going forward, and what are some areas that we could improve on, and how do we attract new board members and recruit those board members, because we're always looking for people that just have a passion. And then what education could we give the board members we have? What are some other areas for training? And how do we get them the tools that they need to help us? So we just actually purchased some Chromebooks, and we're distributing them right now to our board members. We got extras. So if we have extra board members come on, we have Chromebooks for those board members, because, we use a lot of the G Suite, and really just being able to navigate, helping out with documents. Let's say we want to do fundraising and someone has an interest in helping with that event. They can connect with Mary. They can go on, all virtually from their home and start working on that, and start, with our staff. And I think that way of working from remotely and collaborating with people, across the state, like Dave was saying earlier, we've helped folks in Plum, and in fact, we're writing a letter with people in Plum right now. We've helped folks in Murraysville. We've done our home resource guide. Recently, we just did another series of it, and we're actually going to have another one in January. And so having these online events and doing these different events, hopefully again in person, maybe in the next year, we'll be able to grow our organization, grow the work that we do, help the people in the community, and do it in a way that involves our volunteers and our board. So what would be one thing that you would say to anybody that's listening, that would encourage them to start looking into the board, and just kind of jump in and see if it works? Lois?
I have a suggestion. No, I don't want to forget, since saying, okay, I guess I'll be board chair. Well, there was a whole lot of help because the meetings that were going to be available, but you had to travel to, I found that, well, you and I attended one that had to do with the IEEE, that was the international group that met to discuss the economics of energy that would normally have met at Columbia University. We, or at least I did, had a free front row seat in my own house to attend and to take furious notes, which I've saved for the rest of anybody who wishes to look at them. But basically talking about the future of Wall Street's interest in energy, and really where the separating the wheat from the chaff, and why is coal going to be very limited? What are the economic predictions, and who's predicting it? So that was an enormously helpful look at what, how the world, does the world need all that stuff coming through the pipeline? How much is it going to cost per cubic whatever in order to get it to be exported overseas? Are we going to break even or break the buck on that? Doesn't look like it. And these are things that you won't hear about now, but you have access to information when you're talking to the experts. Well, I had that front row seat, and I think that was free. And if it wasn't, thank you very much, because Protect BT gave me that seat. And you also enabled me to go to a meeting that was specifically for, I think, board chairs. Mm-hmm. And it was talking about good, better, best, and basically how to run a board. So I had help and more confidence after that, because, things happen for a reason. We meet online. We have lifelong learning, I think, because I'm a respiratory care educator, or was. And the kinds of things, how to conduct a meeting, the future of meetings are going to be electronic. And I think everybody's happy about that in many, many ways, although you miss the social component. how to conduct that board meeting is, here to stay electronically. The goals are the same. And what you're doing is you're increasing the quality of what you're relaying to the board members. And you're doing a lot of preparation ahead of that by preparing an agenda and by looking at our Google Chromebooks and being able to get into all the documents that you guys have been working on for various things. Could be legal, it could be an activity that's planned, it could be the home resource guide and the two-part series that you presented, and then the actual home resource guide books in the library themselves. But when we're talking about this as every other month, as we do at board meetings, these meetings are more meaningful because instead of one person doing all the talking or two, we have functions on Zoom where we can take polls and where we can have chat discussions before voting, and the actual apparatus to vote on something, discuss it or table it. And this is very educational just by attending that meeting as a guest, which Dave, you attended meetings as a guest when we met in person.
Mhm.
And I think there's even more opportunity to see what's going on when you attend an electronic meeting. And then you have the platforms for everything that follow that. So I say that there are a lot of baby boomers like myself that I remember the Clintons back in the 90s saying, well, by the 2000 and somethings, there'll be all these retired people that, nobody knew what the undertakings of 2020, but, we were going to be able to step in and give back. And I feel that becoming a part of the community, the tribe that is interested in their environment and what role can they play, this fits perfectly with it. And I think being a board member opens up another world to you. I don't want to contract in my latter years, and I still plan on living many of them. I want to open my mind to what I'm going to leave for the next generation and generations to come. This is a perfect vehicle as far as I'm concerned. And I hope I don't sound too much like Shirley Temple, because I am that enthusiastic about it. And I am encouraged, even for the person who's not necessarily teched up. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and so we are going to have more trainings too. So let's say you're not familiar with the Google platform. We had a training the beginning of this year. We're going to have another training again once we all get our Chromebooks and in next year. That's all part of the opportunity that we've done for our board development and the grant that goes with it. And I just want to thank the Center for Health, Environment, and Justice. They're the ones that granted us the money to be able to do that board development, to get the Chromebooks, to do the training, to evaluate our board. So we want to thank them for the opportunity, because it was definitely something that we had been wanting to do, and we just weren't able to kind of lay it out and really take the time and have the money to be able to do it. So that allows us the opportunity in 2021. And so in 2021, we're going to continue to work to help the community. We are working currently on the Halt Mariner Now campaign, so trying to halt the Mariner East pipeline for various reasons that people, especially in the eastern side of the state, are painfully aware of the destruction to our ecosystems and to our environment from that particular pipeline. But really connecting the petrochemical system that we have on this side of the state with things like folks fighting the cracker plant and things like extraction right in our backyards, to the pipeline and where it's going. It's going to a port in Delaware County, Pennsylvania, and that's going to be exported to Norway to make more plastics. And really the conversations of why do we need more plastic, and that really connects with the Promote PT and living and learning about sustainability and learning how to live more sustainable and live in a circular economy and a kind of in a circular environment that we give back what we what we take from our natural resources. So all of those things, if you're interested in learning about that, go to our website and look at all the information we have there. We have the link up on the screen for you for our board. So if you want to become a board member, you can actually become a guest of our next board meeting, like Lois was saying, and like Dave started out as a guest and then became a board member. And so you can see for yourself if it's something you want to do. And our next board meeting is actually December 14th, and it's at 6:30 on Zoom. Actually, it's on Google Meets. We do Google Meets instead of Zoom. So if you're interested in becoming a board member or just becoming a guest for that meeting, you can email me at Jillian, which is GILLIAN at protectpt.org, or you can sign up online. There's a guest on the board link right here. We also have the link, I believe, on Facebook as well. And so please be a guest, be our guest for next is it next week or the week after? Gosh, the time is flying. And then in January we're going to be hopefully reiterating those board positions we have already. We've got some wonderful people in our board positions, like Lois as chair, and so hopefully we'll be re-upping some of those positions and maybe making some new positions, and of course learning how to use the Chromebooks, learning how to be an effective board member and a volunteer. So maybe you don't want to take the leap to board member, but you'd like to attend a couple meetings. Please do. We have our meetings every other month. It's the second Monday evening of every month. We try to have it in the evening so everyone can attend. And so check out our schedule. I'll be posting the new schedule on our website soon for 2021. And if you would like to have one of the t-shirts that Dave and I are wearing and that we were wearing in the photos there, Patrick, if you'll go to the next screen, please go to our website. I have the link up here. And there's an image of our board page. So this is what it looks like, protectpt.org/board. There's not a direct link to our on our website. But we can certainly unhide that for you. And Patrick, if you go to the next screen. And this is part of our virtual lunch. We're having a late lunch today. We wanted to do it in the afternoon because we had some things going on this afternoon around lunchtime, and this gives us an opportunity for folks like Dave and Lois to join us for our lunch hour. We're going to keep doing lunch hours next year. So if you haven't done our survey, do the survey for the lunch hour. Tell us what kind of guests you'd like to have next year and what kind of topics. Maybe you don't know about guests, but you do have an interest in a certain topic, learning a certain thing. You can let us know what you're interested in learning about, and then we will look for experts to connect with and organizations that are experts in those particular areas to connect with. And then, of course, you can get your sweatshirts. We're going to have sweatshirts soon. We're going to have long sleeve shirts soon. We've got short sleeve shirts right now. We have posters, stickers. We're ordering water. I say water bottles, but they're hot and cold bottles, so you can use them for water or tea or anything else. We're going to have those coming soon as well. So check out our website. Check out our merchandise. If you are a member, you got a catalog. So if not, you can shop online. And if you have interest in becoming a board member, join us next week after on the 14th in the evening.
Go back to a Thursday. I'm sorry. Are you going to go back to a Thursday format for your virtual lunch?
Perhaps. We're not quite sure, and that's something that maybe the board could tell us what fits best for them, or maybe on the survey if people want to suggest a different time. We did Tuesdays because of Giving Tuesday, and I want to go back to that a little bit because today is Giving Tuesday, which is why we're doing this our virtual event late, because we want to make sure that people can give while before the day ends. And Giving Tuesday is really a worldwide day of philanthropy. And so we want to make sure that if you're interested in donating to an organization, we'd like to ask if you could donate to our organization, because we are really hardworking people, and we try to educate and advocate, as Lois and Dave had really outlined how we do that. So thank you guys for joining us today. And is there anything else that you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to say yet before we sign off?
I just when Lois mentioned Shirley Temple there, I just thought it was interesting that in case some of our younger viewers might not know, she was the biggest child movie star in the world for some time, and I mentioned that only because then you think about anybody in any kind of career, whether it be entertainment or anything else you can possibly imagine, can have additional completely different kind of activities in their life that you might not have imagined you might do. So becoming a board member for anybody who's involved in a different kind of career might be analogous to Shirley Temple herself, who, as she grew up, rather than being a movie star, she actually served her country as ambassador to both Ghana and Czechoslovakia, which maybe I think most people at the time knew because she was so famous, but just it's interesting that Lois brought her up. But so it really shows how you can serve the community in an organization that really, I feel like Protect PT is an organization that, it's right down to your actual community, right down to your neighborhood, right down to your street and your own house in such a visceral way, in the sense that you as a resident of any community really don't always know what's going on or what's being planned. And you think about it, and I mean, specifically in the idea of, let's say, fracking, the oil companies make plans years ahead of time, and they might communicate that to local officials who basically might keep it to themselves. But years ahead of time, they might be already talking and planning and doing things that certain people in the community know, but most of the residents don't. But an organization like Protect PT is essentially, in one sense, a watchdog, keeping their eye, or our eye, on that kind of thing, and then educating the public. So you might, as a resident in any community, find out what's going on long before you would have, which also allows you to become active in your own community and helping with something you might not have known about if it wasn't for a group like Protect PT. I've had a fair amount of experience with local governments, not on the board like Lois, but speaking with them and working and finding out lots of things that, as we know, they're just made up of various people, and some of them don't, some of them do, and some of them don't always necessarily have the best intentions for a community, and might be self-serving people. I mean, I'm not, I'm never going to name names on this, but a group like Protect PT is certainly here to help the community and help you then deal with your local officials, as Lois and I have in different capacity, and Jillian certainly has, and all the members of Protect PT. So I just highly recommend getting involved with something like this if you've never thought about it.
Yeah, we actually recently were invited up to West Deer in Allegheny County to talk with their planning commission. We were really honored to be able to do that and go up to West Deer. Even in the world of COVID, it was strange, because it was a very it was not a lot of a lot of people in the room. There were only a couple people in the room, which is not like a normal public meeting. I hadn't been to a public meeting during COVID, and we were all wearing our masks. But I was really honored to be able to go up there and share with them our noise monitoring results, and we had done some studies there, some baseline studies, and could share those results with the local officials, and just urge them to update ordinances to protect the people, because as a local government, there's very few things that you can have control over when it comes to oil and gas development, and noise is one of them. And that's one of the biggest impacts. Anybody that has lived near fracking will tell you that it is very noisy, and that noise equals stress. that noise equals lack of sleep. That noise equals, lack of concentration, especially when we're in our homes more now because of COVID. So this is even more important than it ever has been before. And so, we're really lucky to be able to have an environmental scientist that can go out and still, she's developed a system to do the no touch deployment of our noise equipment and our air monitoring equipment. So we're really safe with COVID, but also still serving the community. So we are still here, we are still serving the community in so many ways, and we're hoping that in 2021 we can continue to do that. Lois, do you have any last minute thoughts before we head off today?
Only the one about monitoring. About the same time that I was becoming board chair and Dave was joining the board, my sister moved from another state to Monroeville, and there were I had given her previously the book Amity and Prosperity as one of like a Christmas gift, and of course she was so into that book. And then when she moved here, it was sort of a continuation of that conversation. And she ended up volunteering with Kathleen, who is your scientist. And she had a air monitor. And I think that it might have just recently been, I think it's only up there for a certain amount of time, one on the outside, one on the inside. And it went exactly as you say. And so and I'm pretty sure that that's measuring PM 2.5, and both in the house and out of the house. And of course, she'd go by the room. She's about to have some green renovation to her home by the same guy that did ours. I don't know whether I should mention him, but anyway, so before he gets there, she's seeing the fluctuation of the numbers. And anyway, all of this is stimulating. It's kind of like walking in the park and taking note of what's around you. And then there are people that are in that same park with you, and they're interacting about what their observations are, and you're teaching each other. And that's sort of how it goes in terms of becoming aware of our pollution. Today's email that I got from Ron Slab mentioned a EPA study of the pollutants that were left in the South Philadelphia area after an incident that occurred there. And their interval of measuring was maybe once a week, and they totally missed the event that could be seen from space, from outer space. And so the gaps of what we need to do to monitor, Protect PT fills that role in trying to do air monitoring. I've become a water monitor, and that was through a separate program in the state. And we really count on these organizations to pick up where the gaps are, because we need to do the EPA's job. And it's a shame that I'm saying this, but it is true. We need to be the watchdog, I think you said, Dave. That's an excellent term for what we do. It kind of reminds me of Nader's Raiders. There's another term from the past. But these are the things that citizen activism doesn't mean that you wear a bandana around your face and nobody knows you and you look nefarious. It means that you're involved in your community, and it means that you're talking. However, the number of ways that we could do that, we could also be part of that monitoring that is so badly needed. And this is what our government should do. And we want to get it back to that. And maybe when we're in a promote PT mode, that's what we'll be working on. And maybe we will have overcome the thing that we're fighting more to protect now.
Yeah.
That's my hope. Anyway, those are my last thoughts, I guess.
Great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. I think it was a really good conversation about how people can get involved and why they should. And I have the link up on the screen again for folks that would like to attend our board meeting in December 14th in the evening at 6:30. And also, if you'd like to donate today with the Giving Tuesday, we ask that you do so. And you can do so on our website. You can do so on Facebook. Facebook's actually matching a certain percentage today of the donations. So that's why, normally this is on YouTube, but we posted on Facebook today because of Giving Tuesday. So thank you guys so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope you join us on our board meetings and see what it's about. And thank you to Lois and Dave for really showing us the leadership that we need to run our organization. And I'm excited about the Chromebooks for you guys and and doing the board development next year. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful evening. It's snowing over here, so if you have a chance, get out and enjoy the snow. So take care. Have a good evening. Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.